Hi friends, hope you are doing well. Today I am going to discuss about the H1B visa, and as you know the H1B has been a topic of lot of discussion recently, and many changes may be coming as far as the H1B visa is concerned in the coming years. Now the H1B is the visa you typically use to come to the US and work. This visa is typically issued for a period of 3 years and you can renew it for 3 more years. And what happens is that many people actually continue to work in the US beyond the 6 year duration because they apply for the green card. So if this happens, then you will be able to stay in US for the long time. But what has happened is that many people have used the H1B system to bring in employees, and these employees who come from foreign countries, they typically end up causing a lot of pressure on the job market. And so what happens is that with this pressure, the salaries can sometimes come down, people can get laid off, and so on. So let us discuss three likely changes which are going to come in the coming years regarding the H1B visa. Now, one of them is that the H1 visa may be related to the current job market. Now, at the present time, a total of 85,000 H1B visas are being given every year. And what happens is that this number remains static whether the US is in recession or not. So every now and then there is a recession, a lot of people get laid off, for example, in the tech sector, and the H1B continues at the same rate, that is at 85,000 a year. Now, during that time, a lot of people are actually in the job market, those who have lost their jobs, and it becomes very difficult for these people to find jobs because companies are bringing in the H1B people. So what may happen is that the H1B numbers may change depending on the job market in the US. So when the unemployment rate is very low, then the H1B may be allowed. And when the unemployment rate becomes high, then the H1B may be actually stopped for a year or two. So there may be a kind of moratorium on the H1B situation. Now, the second case has to do with salary and the lottery in the H1B. Now, many of you know that when you apply for the H1B, there are many people applying for this visa. So there is a kind of lottery out there, and based on this, you may or may not get the visa. So what may actually happen is that instead of having this lottery system, which is kind of a random process, the US government may actually go for the maximum salary here. So it may simply give the H1B visas to people who are commanding a very high salary. Now, one of the points which is raised in the H1B visa system is that there are not enough engineers and scientists in the US to do this job. And there are many questions about whether this is actually correct, because not only a lot of people get laid off every now and then in the tech sector, but there are also many people graduating from the university. So there are people who are finishing degrees and they are not able to get jobs because there are these relatively experienced people who are entering the job market through the H1B. So this may happen that only very high salaried people may be allowed to come in into the H1B system. So the lottery may give way to this salary based system. Now, the third issue has to do with favoring PhD students and master's degree students. Now, one of the arguments made in favor of H1B is that the best and brightest of the people around the world should come to US to work and to work in various companies. Now, what happens is that not all the people who are coming to US on H1B are actually the best and brightest. So there are many humdrum jobs out there, and in these jobs, essentially people are coming because they may be knowing one particular technology in the software sector, and the company may be in need of such a person. So what happens is that a person with a bachelor's degree can often qualify for the H1B visa and can come to the US. Now, one of the things which is becoming very clear nowadays is that a master's degree is at least required if you are going to work in many of the complicated fields. For example, if you want to work in deep learning, in cybersecurity, in any of these areas, in biotechnology, it is a good idea to have a master's degree, and certainly a PhD degree is very useful in many fields, for example, in the life sciences and so on. So it's very likely that PhDs are going to be favored as far as the H1B process is concerned. And then the next level, it may be the master's degree people. So this is something which may be coming. there is actually question as to whether the BS college graduates really are necessary in terms of getting the H1B visa or giving the H1B visa. Finally, the fourth point which may happen is that the H1B people may be permitted to change their jobs. And what happens right now is that when you get an H1B visa, you are tied to a particular company. So most often these people become like the house elves in the Harry Potter movies, and they are not able to change their company. They are essentially part of the system. Now, this is sometimes very useful for the companies if they are pursuing a long-term project, but it can be negative for the person concerned because this person is not really able to take advantage of the job market out there. So letting the H1Bs go here and there, go to different jobs is going to actually make them less attractive when compared to many US citizens or permanent residents who actually have the freedom to change their companies if they don't like their boss, which is often the case with many people. So, this is something which may again happen. These points are all speculative, of course, but there are debates going on in US society, in the US political circles about how to streamline and improve the H1B visa. So, if you are somebody who is planning to apply for these visas, somebody who is planning to probably sponsor a person for these visas, it is important to know some of these facts, and hopefully, these facts are going to help you.